Good evening. I am Trent Ruxlow with the McPherson County Community Foundation Board. Thank you for tuning into our live stream of our Philanthropist of the Year presentation. Congratulations to all of our nominees. We are excited to present live stream. Though we wish we could be in person this year, we are planning to have our 2022 Philanthropist of the Year presentation live and in person November 22nd, 2022. We hope that you can join us then. Please keep up with our foundation by subscribing to our newsletter on our webpage. You can access this under our Giving News on our main page. We would like to take this time to announce our 2021 Philanthropist of the Year nominations.
The McPherson Opera House nominates Terry and Lily Hedlund for the Philanthropist 2021 Award. The Opera House could not be maintained or successful without people like the Hedlunds. They have been a tremendous financial contributor to our organization. Some of their contributions have gone toward the marquee, which markets our shows and our performances. Also, they paid for the upgrade of our stage lights to LED lights. Both Terry and Lily were born and raised in McPherson. After high school, Terry joined the U.S. Marine Corps, where he served 13 months in Vietnam. They later married and raised their family here. Terry joined his father's business, Hedlund's Electric, in 1971, and 45 years ago, he took the business over. Why are Terry and Lily Hedlund such great philanthropists? They are so community-minded. Terry belongs to the McPherson VFW and the American Legion, where they have contributed to the mural on the outside of the American Legion building. Terry serves as a member of the Home State Bank Board. They contributed money to have the high school soccer field improved when their granddaughters were playing soccer. They belong to the New Gotland Lutheran Church, where they also contribute. The 1928 American La France historical fire truck was bought by the Hedlunds for the City of McPherson Fire Department. It's McPherson's first fire truck, and now that it is remodeled, it will be used for special events. It's a piece of McPherson's history. The Hedlund's son, Travis, was killed in a car accident when he was in the 8th grade. In memory of him, they established a fund at the McPherson County Community Foundation. The Memorial Fund grants money to athletes who financially need it for school athletic equipment, and they also purchased the score table. The Hedlunds has contributed to the McPherson Opera House and many other organizations in McPherson, but they feel that someone needs to look after the little towns as Marquette. Terry belongs to the Marquette American Legion, where they volunteer for their cookouts and other events. They have donated equipment also to the Legion. Terry and Lily have contributed to the Marquette Learning Center. They donated lights to Canopolis Lake, and the company put the lights up. Their generosity and time has made a positive difference within organizations and people in our community and surrounding communities. We want to thank the McPherson Community Foundation for considering the Hedlunds for the Philanthropist of the Year.
Well, it's been something that we've thought about, or I have been thinking about, your question. And the community and the surrounding communities have been so good to us over the past 70 years now at the shop, and feel like it's nice that we are able to give something back to them as well. Do you agree?
I think we're fortunate enough that we can do give a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time for donating to different functions and stuff like that. Being a self-employed, I wish I had more time, but maybe I can in the future. So,
yeah, getting closer to retirement, perhaps we can have a little more time to volunteer at different functions. But we do enjoy McPherson, all the surrounding communities, and hate to see those little towns too just go by the wayside. So it's important to help wherever we can.
RoJean has been a driving force behind the project to transform childcare in Lindsborg. RoJean went on a fact-finding mission to Lawrence with other folks from Lindsborg in the early spring of 2019. When the discussion turned to what high-quality childcare could mean to the economic development of Lindsborg, her eyes got big, and it was clear that she was all in. She has been an important member of the design team for the building, meeting regularly and taking my many phone calls. She has been a committed board member for these 3 years. She has given significant annual gifts. Finally, when our previous executive director announced her resignation with 2 weeks' notice, RoJean jumped into that gap to ensure that we could continue to provide care to children, both for their development and so that their parents can go to work, providing for their families and meeting needs across our region. RoJean has enjoyed being retired for nearly 10 years, so re-entering the workforce is a real sacrifice. She is doing a fabulous job, setting us up for future success, and her willingness to continue through the end of the year means that the board has the luxury of time as they seek out their next permanent executive director.
Well, it's an interesting question because I never considered myself a philanthropist. But I guess if that's what you call what I'm doing right now, I think I'm most concerned about the young children in our community and their care and their education. And that was something I felt that I could do. So I have stepped in to be an interim director in the Child Care Center, and many days I wish I wasn't. You can cut that if you want to. No, it's just, it feels like something that I'm doing for investing in the future. And I'll never get to see these kids grow up. I won't be around that long, but it's okay. That's what you do when you give back to your community, as far as I'm concerned.
I have just recently become acquainted with Jeff and Danielle Black. The Blacks are currently serving as the pastors of the McPherson Nazarene Church, or MP-Naz, on North Main Street in McPherson. In addition to providing a warm and welcoming place for people to gather, fellowship, and worship each week, Jeff and Danielle have initiated a ministry for those in our community who are experiencing some of life's toughest struggles and are working towards recovery from these struggles. This includes folks suffering from the disease of addiction, mental health, abuse. The Blacks have renovated the building at 1455 North Main Street to include several safe gathering spaces for recovery group meetings, as well as a facility for those without to be able to shower, rest on a real bed, and have access to needed personal care items. The current project that this couple has undertaken is to create a safe teen space in the basement of 1455 North Main Street where kids can gather to fellowship, play games, watch TV, have snacks, all within a supervised, clean, sober, and safe environment. Jeff and Danielle recently converted the back area of the building to an outdoor, sober, recreational area, including yard games and playground equipment, tables and benches. All of these ministries and projects are being accomplished through donations that Jeff and Danielle have secured, but mostly through the financing and sweat of Jeff and Danielle themselves. They currently do not receive any compensation from the McPherson Nazarene Church other than the use of the living quarters next to the church. In other words, they work for free. The bulk of the labor involved in the renovations summarized above has been done by Danielle and her small band of recovery warriors. Both Jeff and Danielle can be found every night of the week and on the weekends at 1455 North Main, facilitating one of the several recovery or church activities or support group meetings. I am amazed and awed by the work that Jeff and Danielle have undertaken to minister to this underserved and unrecognized sector of our community. As I have personally experienced the grief and isolation created by this family disease of addiction, I am so grateful to the Blacks for their work and dedication and their personal sacrifices of time and financial resources to bring these much-needed services and ministries to the McPherson community and the surrounding area.
So the reason that we do outreach the way that we do is because Danielle and I both were raised in churches that had some form of giving back to the community as we were growing up. And so when we finally moved into the position of being pastors, we just knew we wanted to be in a church that did the same thing. What really solidified it for me was when we found out we were pregnant with our first child. I had lost my job 2 weeks prior, and we went to a center that helped families with children or expecting mothers, and just the way they had it set up to help people and do outreach. And it wasn't just giving you things, but it was encouraging you to be a better parent and family member. Just solidified it with me that if the outreaches we didn't want it to just be something that we never get to meet the people. We wanted to get to know people and help people and see how we can help them in the future as well, rather than just helping today. And so that's why I have the style that I like to go with.
Yeah, no, one of the things that we both always say is we pay for this building 24/7, so we're paying for it, why not use it? And so we have just had different things. We've surveyed the community, we've talked to people, just hanging out with them, you realize that there's all kinds of gaps in the services we have in town. When we first started here, we talked to everybody in town, and tons of people talked about how they needed things for teens. We had a ping pong table in the basement of the church. I was like, hey, let's start a teen center. And Jeff was like, we have a ping pong table. But over time now we have, and we're working on getting that going. We had people come to us, and just because of who we were in the community, came up to us and said, hey, can we start a 12-step program at your church? And we're like, why not? Let's set it up. And we had the same thing with Narnan when Denise came up to us and said, hey, could we start this? I was like, yeah, one works. You know, like, we have the building here, and if we can help, we're going to do it. I was talking to my son recently, and he was asking what we did. It was one of those surveys online. And he asked, what is your occupation? And I asked him that, and he goes, Mom, you love people. And I'm like, that's what I do? He goes, yeah, that's what you do. And that just broke, I mean, it broke my heart. It was just like tears. But so that's just kind of what we do. It was like, we came here and God put us here, and we just want to help people. So.
Our first runner-up winner is RoJean Loucks, nominated by the Sprout House.
RoJean will have $500 that she'll be able to direct to the charity of her choice.
Our first runner-up is Terry and Lily Headland, nominated by the McPherson Opera House.
And Terry and Lily will have $750 they'll be able to direct to the charity of their choice. And our final nominee
And our winner of the Philanthropist of the Year is Jeff and Danielle Black with Life Recovery and MPNAS. They were nominated by Denise O'Connor-Munsey.
and Jeff and Danielle will be able to direct $1,000 to the charity of their choice.
Thank you very much for tuning in to our Philanthropists of the Year. Thank you for tuning in to our Philanthropists of the Year presentation. We look forward to seeing you in person next year, November 22nd, 2022.
Thank you again for being here. Take care, everyone.